Yo, what's going on? Welcome back. Got a great episode for you guys today. It's officially conference championship time. But before we get into that, I want to apologize for not having an episode last week and also for this disaster of a haircut. I went into the barbershop. I was told to go to a salon by my sisters, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna rip the barbershop again I walked into a hatchet job, man. I asked for a low modern mullet, if you can imagine that even coming out of a man's mouth, and then he just said, you know what we're gonna do? We're going to mohawk you. So now we're rocking a mohawk. I apologize for the haircut. It's a sore subject right now. But before we get to the conference championship, some quick house cleaning. All the NFL stuff, as always, is on the Sports Line YouTube and Instagram. Make sure you go support it. We're doing 25 days of Parlay right now. Happy early Christmas, or Merry early Christmas, however you want to say it. But let's just get into it. We got every single conference championship, and I'm going to go over every single game. Maybe not in depth, but we're going to touch every single game. Hopefully you had a phenomenal Thanksgiving. I was thinking about you guys, and I just want to say I'm so thankful for everyone that's been watching these videos and supporting this new little era of content that I'm in right now. It's been a large adjustment for me. And I just want to thank everyone for supporting me that have been here the whole time. So thank you guys so much for watching all the episodes. Let's just get into some conference champions, shall we? Kennesaw State going into Jacksonville State. Not the place you thought we'd start, but there's only 9 games, so we're going to go through all of them. Jacksonville State in the beginning of the year was one of my little wagons. They had Gavin Wimsatt. They brought in Cam Cook from TCU. And unfortunately, Gavin Wimsatt does this really fun thing where he just loses his job every year. And unfortunately, the kid behind him is definitely better. But I would be lying if I told you I stopped betting on this team strictly because Gavin lost his job. But if you look at Cam Cook's stats, it's hard to say he's not one of the best running backs in the country. And now I'm getting 2.5 points. I'm going to take Jacksonville State plus 2.5 in this game all freaking day. I might take the over as well, but I think if I take Jacksonville State plus 2.5, the thesis would be keep it in Cam Cook's hand, keep it on the ground, burn clock, and win the ugly way. And taking the over would, I think, be the opposite of that thinking. So if I like Jacksonville State plus 2.5, I'm not going to touch that over. Troy playing JMU, who, by the way, they should be in the college football playoff. Let's keep it there. Let's start it there. JMU making the college football playoff would just be the most exciting thing ever in college football, and I'd be really disappointed if they weren't in it. But I'm going to take JMU minus 22.5. If you're going to make the college football playoff, you need to now make that resume, make that push, and beat Troy by an amount and a number that the college football committee looks at you and goes, ooh, guys, we can't leave that out. Guys, we cannot afford to leave that out because that team is exciting. That team is fun. And they might just give a Power 5 team a run for their money for one quarter before they get their face melted off. But I'm going to take JMU minus the 22.5. And this one almost said plus, but it's minus 22.5. North Texas playing Tulane. Give me the over and give me Tulane. I know Tulane's head coach, I believe, is departing. However, they're allowing him to coach the college football playoff, which I think is pretty cool, and his conference championships. So I'm going to take Tulane plus 2.5 here. I think they have a great chance to make the college football playoff if they keep, like I'm saying, bolstering this resume. And you're getting 2.5 points in your pocket. Now, given a lot of this situation may change, some players may not play. I don't really know the whole ins and out of the coaching situation, so I might be talking out of my rear end, which happens most episodes on here. So if you're new, welcome to the show. But I'm going to take Tulane plus 2.5 here and the over. I just feel like this is going to be a classic Tulane, North Texas, 35, 41, whatever side you're on, you know that over is hitting. But I'm going to also take the Tulane side and just say, let's make a college football playoff, shall we? UNLV is playing Boise State. There's a guy in my office, his name is Jonathan, and he likes to give me the stats, and he's just one of the nicest guys, and he's just the GOAT. And I think the stat was like teams that play each other in the conference championship, that played each other in the regular season, you'd think the team that got beat when they played in the regular season would be the play, but actually the team going for the sweep, I think it was wins like 75% of the time. So just because of that stat alone, and I might have that stat completely wrong, I'm going to take Boise State minus 3.5 here. I also think Boise's just a better team. And I think this is a great number to get Boise at, especially in a conference championship where I think they're going to come out and absolutely fillet UNLV. So I love Boise State minus 3.5 here. Might dabble in the over, but I'm not just going to take the over in every conference championship game because it's going to be high tensions. But Boise minus 3.5, I absolutely love in this spot. BYU playing Texas Tech. What do you do? This is just going to be a spite bet, and this is how dumb and idiotic my brain is that sometimes I can't look at a game and go, wow, that's a really great number to get a really great team at. My brain goes, I don't want this team to make the college football playoff, so I'm going to bet on the other team to absolutely melt their face off, and that's Texas Tech against BYU. I'm going to take Tech minus 12.5 here. If you're in the Dallas area, don't be afraid to go to the Big 12 Championship. It's a phenomenal atmosphere. It's a phenomenal game at Jerry's World. You get to go to Texas Live, go upstairs, ride a bull if you want, and then get some vodka in your system and hit Jerry's World. But I'm going to take Texas Tech minus 12.5 here. I don't want BYU in the college football playoff discussion. I think there's too many fun group of 5 teams that should make their way in, and maybe a couple SEC teams that I think should make their way in. And if BYU wins this game or keeps this game close, they then make their resume look good enough where the college football committee might have to take 2 teams from the Big 12. And listen, nobody wants that. So give me Texas Tech minus 12.5. I absolutely love it. We move to a little bit of MACtion. Miami of Ohio playing Western Michigan. DeQuan Finn, the quarterback of Miami, Ohio, did this fun thing this month where he was like, hey, I'm going to leave and go get ready for the draft. Don't know who told DeQuan Finn or who was in DeQuan Finn's corner that he was draft ready or that missing games and, hitting a practice field is going to make him a even draftable player. Pretty sure he's in that unrestricted, undrafted area right now. So I don't know if missing games is going to help him with that, but hopefully that practice field gets him more reps. Give me Western Michigan minus 2.5. Like, what are we doing here? Just give me Western Michigan in a classic action battle. Western Michigan minus 2.5. It doesn't matter. Move to our last 3 games on the slate, and there's some of the best games. Georgia playing Alabama. I'm going to take Alabama plus 2.5 here. 1, the stat that we talked about with the Boise game. 2, I just think Georgia's the better team coming into this game. 100%. Georgia should be favored. Georgia's been beating teams, really good teams, really bad lately. Alabama's been keeping it close with really bad teams. A 7-point win against Auburn where Cam Coleman fumbled away. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened to Alabama recently where they're kind of getting by the skin of their teeth right now. But this is the game you show up for. This is the game you're looking forward to. You just squeaked out of the Iron Bowl. Now you go into an SEC championship game where it's kind of a must-win game. You're going to make the playoff either way if you're Alabama, but you want to be seeded much, much, much higher, and you want Georgia's stock to kind of decrease a little bit. And I think this is a great spot to get Alabama plus 2.5. I still think they're the better team. I still think they have the better roster. Georgia has the better coach, and that's where games like this do scare me, but I'm going to take Alabama with 2 points in my pocket and feel pretty comfortable just because anything can happen in this game, and Alabama's already done it once this year. The what the heck happened conference championship. Duke is playing Virginia, and I know I talked about BYU being a problem and how I don't want BYU in it, but I think it would be absolutely hysterical if Duke beats Virginia and the college football committee then has to look at Duke and go, what do we do now? Do we even take a team from the ACC? Can we leave out a Duke team that just won the ACC championship, or do we put a 5-loss Duke team in? I just want to see that happen in that room of collection of weirdos in the college football committee. Like, I just want that collection of weirdos to have to sit there with their coffees and their little paper cups of water and go, what do we do with Duke? So I'm going to take Duke plus 3.5. I also think they're a live dog in this one. Duke's a great team. They've just lost to really bad teams in really horrific ways, but on their day when everything's clicking, they have weapons all around the field and they can beat you in a variety of different ways, and they have a good pass rush. So I don't mind taking Duke here in a team that's going, dude, if we win, we might be in the playoff with 5 losses. Give me that team in the locker room. So I'm going to take Duke with the points, even though it's going to be a pretty unpopular bet. We move to our conference championship game of the weekend. Indiana playing Ohio State with a 4.5-point spread. I think you're going to know where I'm going to go with this one. I'm taking Indiana plus 4.5. In my head, Ohio State's not battle-tested. Beating Michigan for the first time, I think it's 4 or 5 years, is great. Finally, Ryan Day gets over the hump. He beats Michigan, which is what you're hired to do when you're the Ohio State head coach. But there's something in me that says this Ohio State team is going to get punched in the mouth this year. And I think this conference championship is a great time to do it if you're Ohio State. To face a little adversity, to lose to an Indiana team, or to be in a close game with Indiana and squeak one out and go into the college football playoff feeling really, really good about yourselves because you've handled adversity and you beat adversity. And the reason why I'm taking Indiana is because they've had that adversity. They've had those close games. And I'm going to take Indiana with the points here. I also just think there's a razor-thin margin that separates these two teams, in my head at least. I know you could look at Ohio State's roster and go, that margin is a river wide. But in my head, I don't think it's that big of a margin. So I'm going to take Indiana plus 4.5. I also just think Mendoza in a big game is just going to be absolutely nails. So I'm going Ohio State to not cover the game, and I think Indiana might be a live dog, so I'm going to take Indiana plus 4.5 here. That'll do it for our conference champions. This episode's going to be a little short, I guess. I can't wait for the playoff episode. I'm so stoked. I'm going to put out my bracket. It's going to be amazing. But we end every episode the same with a little bit of Mikey core. If you've been watching since the beginning of the year, I just got a new tattoo. And I don't want to be that guy that draws attention to his new tattoo because those guys suck. But the reason why I got it is because it's a message in Gaelic, which is an Irish language, and I'm very, very, very Irish. And it translates to, through the pain comes a strength. And I think too many times in life when we're facing adversity or when we're going through something, we don't realize the value in it. And we just want to get out of it. And I think the last episode we talked about the patience in suffering. And when you take your time in suffering and you don't resort to anger and you don't resort to wanting it to go fast and you treat it like the tides or it's going to come in, it's going to come out, you get through it. And when you find that patience, you find perseverance at the end of it where the suffering once lived because you gave yourself the time to get through it. And I think this idea of it also strengthens your sword. When you're going to battle with yourself in your own head and you're trying to get through things, and fighting your mind can be impossible. I saw this quote that your mind only thinks fake scenarios and you can drown in them. And I've been drowning in them, trust me. But I've realized that when you're going through a tough time and you're fighting through it and you're sharpening your sword and you're just battling every day, that's where your strength comes from as a person. And that's where your strength comes from for the rest of your life, is through these pains your strength comes. And I got that put on my skin, and I really, really liked it, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. But let's have a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. If you're not okay, that's okay. Make sure you go seek help. I'm a big advocate of therapy, but I appreciate all the support on these videos. Share it with a friend, like and subscribe, all those good things. I love you guys so much, and let's have a great weekend.